Morning, Nancy Jane.
Morning, Scott.
Hi, Linda and Steve and Paul, Christina, Laura, Jeffrey, favorite fan. How you doing?
Mhm.
Alex Jones. Okay. Thank you, sweet darling. Yeah, it's just weird. I always try to think of what we want to read on and whatnot, and it just feels like we're here, with
Mhm.
indictments and the stress of the nonsense of the GOP. The talking about impeaching Biden now, to try to get back these compromised compromised fools. But you guys always come up with excellent questions.
Mhm.
And then you have a whole bunch that you put in there. You said that was
Yeah,
from
yeah.
another show or something?
Mhm. We've got the four that were sent to me. Rand Paul took documents to Putin in 2018. I kind of forgot about that. And they want to know what was in the letter. They wrote a much longer paragraph about how they've been following it.
Yeah.
I edit everything, but
DG's losing her mind. Good.
did she ever find it? You assume she had one.
Oh lordy. Yeah, Rand Paul. Yeah, there was
He took
love
a hand
love
hand delivered something to Putin.
there was talk about Pete Sessions too. Lev Parnas and the whole Ukraine thing, and
Yeah.
he he really sensed he was involved in some of that, and
Oh,
it never.
I think they're circling back our way, and I really do think once the some excuse me, it's the air is getting better here, but not much. Um, that they're circling back. You know how we've always seen them marching them out of Congress. We we need to get uh, proof in front of people, and I think Georgia's where we're going to do it. And once people see this was all going on, that they'll they'll accept better when they come get them.
Yeah, it feels like if you indict people all at once, because the big fish is 45.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Fannie Willis is doing her thing, no big deal. And it's a great thing, and when we got like Arizona's investigating. We've been
Michigan.
in Michigan with the electors.
Mm-hmm.
State AGs are talking about the 14th Amendment, Article 3,
Mm-hmm.
removing these fools, especially 45.
And it's a Republican libertarian lawyer in Florida that's filed the first sort of suit to go that direction.
We, I, I remember when we talked about it a long time ago, the 14th,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think everyone I seen and we were getting, it's going to be relevant, and we can
Yeah.
see it happening now finally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Well,
whether,
what?
when you read it, it's ridiculous. It's set in stone. I'm like, why should there be any challenges? You know,
Mm-hmm.
January 6th committee had it all. Legal scholars show the proof.
Yeah, but it's only been in the last 2 months that you've had like Lawrence Tribe and Ludig, who's the he's the Lawrence Tribe for conservatives, and those two actually wrote their article together from both of their legal concepts. How it works when you get them that far apart, it's really plain. It's really what they call black letter law. I mean, you can't. It's written so plainly. But then look how it said that the IRS shall hand over, not will, not could, not maybe next Thursday, but shall hand over the president's tax records to these two officials within the legislature. That's in the law. That's how it's written. And they never did it. And, you know, it, there's a whole lot of folks dropping the ball all over the place. And the only way we can have a democracy that works is if the people all along the whole line will do what they need to do and not be afraid of getting, getting caught in the middle of losing everything. I mean, and the Dems at times didn't push things as hard as they should have, even when they had the House, even when they were under Pelosi the last time. But
Yeah.
I think what they wanted to do, it's like you and I would love to do lots of things, Scott, wouldn't we? But we only have so much time in a day. So I think in the Congress, they all sat down and their collective consciousness was to pass as much of Biden's agenda so they could make real change for the people in America as they could. And that's what they've been doing. That's what they did under her. Thank you, Coach.
Do you hear do you hear the latest on Texas school system?
Is it that in Houston where they're closing down the libraries, they're turning them into discipline rooms, which sounds a whole lot like a medieval dungeon to me. But
Yeah, there's more.
no, that's the one it's the only one. That was enough. My mind
Parents are
closed.
getting emails because they underfunded the school system. They're looking for volunteer teachers and janitors.
Oh, unfortunately, that's not a new thing here. There are many of the schools that have done that for years. A friend of mine said when her kids went to grade school, she thought you sent your kid to school, the teacher was there, the janitor was there, the principal was there, and they did what they needed to do. Well, now and this was 35 years ago, she told me she found out when she went really and looking at the school that all that they do is they pay the teachers and open the doors. And that's it. After that, any of the things you think really ought to be there, except for school lunches, which are mandated, they get federal money for, wasn't there. And Sally worked for years at her kids' schools doing different things. I worked for a living, so I couldn't go volunteer. But I saw a story yesterday about a woman whose daughters went to school and they allow the kids to bring like a bag of chips or something to have for a snack in the middle of the afternoon if they want to have it. So her mother said to the daughter, she said, well, what the kids are like pre-K and grade three. And she said, honey, what do the kids do that don't bring something from home? And she said, oh, they sit in their chairs and do their homework and stuff. And her mother thought, that's horrible. And so they showed what the mother's done, what the mother did last week. She brought in a giant cart where you can go into like Costco and buy big things of chips and stuff like they put in offices in their break rooms. She brought enough break room food so that every kid could have a snack during breaks for both of the grades. And she said she told the school she's doing it once a week. That's going to be her contribution to the school. And what I couldn't believe is they were going to first of all, that they're letting kids eat chips. But second of all, that, you have this kid eating this over here and this other kid can't eat it all. Yeah, Texas schools are a piece of work.
Yeah, so like what's going on in Wisconsin now, the Republicans want to impeach our new Supreme Court justice.
Yes, I heard about that.
Our governor wants to give 12 weeks of paid leave after having a child.
Right.
Free child care.
Right.
And something else. Because there's a budget surplus that he's created to use. And what the Republicans want to do? Oh, no, we don't want to do that. They want tax cuts for the rich.
Let's not help the working class.
They don't want to help the students, the school system. They want tax cuts. and Evers keeps vetoing. Bring me back
Mm-hmm.
a real solution, and we'll talk.
Mm-hmm.
They're blowing steam. Nope, they don't want to do anything for the people.
Well, then the people who are not having anything done for them need to get their act together and go vote the right way. Uh, Over Labor Day weekend, uh, Biden put forth an idea that if you make if you make less than $55,000 a year, you can't be considered management, because they have that thing where they'll bring them in and they'll pay them 33 or 34,000 a year, make them the assistant manager, and say you don't get overtime.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make $55,000 a year, you get time and a half over 40 hours, and that's only fair.
Yeah.
I worked in a place where we didn't get overtime, we got comp time. It was a public broadcasting station. And then you work so much comp time that when I left the station in mid February, they paid me till mid April for all the comp time they owed me. And the only reason they had to do that was because every timesheet I turned in, I wrote the number of comp hours and I had copies of all those sheets. So when I left, I sat down with the business manager of the station and we added it up and I got a paycheck till April.
Good. Yeah, a lot of places do that. I was training to be a manager at an oil change place many years ago after we quit.
Mm-hmm.
And the assistant managers made more money because they were hourly. But
Mm-hmm.
the manager of the place was only like $33,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
For all the hours a manager has to be in there, if another employee's sick, whatever, you had to cover their shifts and
Mm-hmm.
work up to 7 days a week, 12 hours a
Mm-hmm.
day for 33 grand. I'm glad that didn't work out.
Yes. Are we going to read on MAGA Republicans going to be successful in impeaching Biden?
I I don't even think we need to read on that. I don't think it's going to happen. If you want to throw cards, we can, but
I'll throw cards. They can impeach him, but they can't. They have to go through the Senate to get him out. I don't think it'll work because I think there is a shift in the Republican Party. Was it on Friday or Saturday? The young Republicans had a straw vote on who they want to be president, and DeSantis beat Trump.
the Satan, the weirdest oddest man in the world. I
Yeah, well,
know
I
there's
mean,
no justification for impeachment. They're just throwing stones at their base and the news. Same with their weaponization hearings, which have led to nothing. It's all they're good
oh,
for.
they're definitely going to try, Scott. They're going to get so scared this fall. It's going to happen. They're going to try to do it in October, and it's their goal is to get him out. And this is what's ruling it. This is in a traditional deck. This is the devil. So it's just all the evil and all they're being tied to all the wrong goals. But if they do it, it's going to lead to a lot more eye-opening changes in the American public, and it's not going to get them what they want. But man, they're going to try. It's going to be October.
Um, I have my justice card coming in. I think
Hmm.
I think it's more out of fear
Yeah.
of what's coming down the court here because what's in the news, the Sun, all the corruption. It's all distraction. It's all of the
Hmm.
distraction of what justice because all this information that's coming out about 45 and all these things and what's coming out in the
Hmm.
news, all just a distraction. They really do want to. Most of them. So we have Knight of Wands, the Chariot, but it's going to be a failure with the Five of Coins. I don't think there's enough people in the.
I don't think there's enough people in the House to vote for it, but they have
Room
to have
for it.
arguments building up to it, right?
You're right. Because I do have the death card,
Hmm.
foolish, but that makes me feel like there's not enough in the GOP House to do it with a death card and the hermit
Mhm.
rule. So I think it's just going to be talk. I don't think it's going to be an official thing. You know, they might bring notice to it, but they don't have enough votes, that kind of feeling. Because I got too many cards that are negative on the actually happening with death and the five of coins. It's just a distraction to tactic. I just don't see it
I
happening.
think it's going to happen in October because that's when Chesborough's stuff about what was going on in Georgia is going to come to light.
Mm.
He and Sydney, if they let Sydney in there, if they
I
let
had
her.
I don't know. I had my justice card is November. I didn't get my moon October, but I think it's all BS. Okay, that's a good question. Forgot about that. Jamie Raskin wants the committee of weaponization to
Hmm.
look into Jared. So that, it's up to Comer, I think, who he's with.
Oh, Comer, who if McConnell gets worse, Comer says he's willing to step into that Senate seat. Can you
Of
imagine
course he
that?
is.
How?
Comer's such a maroon. I guess someone was saying on the news that he actually used to be a normal person.
Really?
Yeah, until he went full blown MAGA idiot. Okay.
All I keep hoping is that as many people out there that I see going absolutely apeshit crazy that are in the public eye, that they're people quietly being totally enlightened and they're sitting there like little light bulbs all over the place.
Oh,
The light's got to go somewhere.
hey, Aspie. Do your thing. Thanks for hanging out.
Okay.
Okay,
Um, I
Jared.
got no on this one. I got no, they're not doing it right now because there's so many other things they really need to take care of. Yes, they are aware of the money and they're keeping track of it all, but it requires one person to kind of really shuttle it through. They don't have the resources to do it right now, but they're not running away from it. They're they're not moving on like it didn't happen. I think it will happen, but it's going to happen when there's uh, when they don't have so much damn stuff on their plate. Can you imagine? You know, you wake up every day and you have to kind of prioritize your day. Can you imagine what it must be like if you're on the right side in the Congress? Where do you go?
Okay. I think you're right with the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe our governmental agencies know about the loss,
Mm-hmm.
know about things that were done within our government and loss of funds within their government. Truth,
Mm-hmm.
truth will be coming, truth and clarity. But Five of Coins is representing a lot of grifting and loss within our government under the Trump administration. Um, so then I got moving forward. We're gonna have a tower with all these funds, things he's done in the past to create funds. It's gonna be quick when it does happen. But I had the Queen of Cups, King of Cups, and the Ten of Wands in the end,
Mm-hmm.
and it's overburdened. The system's
Mm-hmm.
overburdened right now. The good people working, but when it happens, it'll be like, wow, we have this
Mm-hmm.
power moment, and it comes. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, it doesn't feel like a special counsel. I don't
No.
think I don't think it's needed. But right now, with everything going on with J6 people and everything,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stress. There's a lot of burdens going on. But yes, it will happen, I believe. They have 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 years to bring a case. And we're in what? Year
Two. I think they've got people looking at it. I think they've got people looking at it, and they're going to have the information ready to go.
Oh, another thing I just heard: True Social is going to have to be shut down if they don't do that merger with it or file an extension next week. Because they had a digital world agency
Yeah.
was supposed to do that merger. And September 8th, if they don't do the merger, they either have a file extension or True Social has to pay back all the money, like $400 million or something, and it'll be shut down if they don't get the funding, the merger. Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Okay.
McConnell misfires again with another seizure or something. It feels like this happened because of his fall.
It's that there's a nerve that he hit in his head. That's why it took him so long to come back. And apparently, one of the things about that healing, or maybe never healing, is they have these things where they freeze. I've seen people have mini strokes. It didn't look like a mini stroke.
I don't think it's strokes. It's more like an epileptic type of seizure. Yeah, because you get freezing, you don't know what's going on, and then you come back. But I think it has something to do with that concussion or whatever. There's bleed or something going on.
Well, in petit mal seizures, they're aware that everything's happening around them, but they can't effectively connect to it. Yeah. So it feels like that kind of a thing, yeah.
Yeah, Mitch looks so frail. When I seen that video, it's like he's fiddling away. The last year, it looks like he aged 10 years.
Well, and poor Feinstein, she got shingles and everything else, but the Republicans wouldn't, if she left a committee, if it wasn't the senator that had been chosen for that committee, they're going to block it. So we would never have a chance of getting another judge for the rest of Biden's term because the Republicans won't allow her seat to be filled because of stupid filibuster law, which, as I have said for a long time, is the first thing that needs to go when we get enough votes to do it. But well, unfortunately, I think it's going to be an individual choice. But yes, they're leaving. They're going to be leaving, but it won't be together. I think he's going to be the first one that goes ahead of her.
Huh.
And this is they're not comfortable there. It's very, very difficult for them to survive there. They know that they can't do what they need to do. And here's Feinstein. She came in last in the reading, so I think Mitch is the first one that goes.
I had neither a male or a female come into my read.
Okay.
But like you said, it's a personal decision. But so I have our Hierophant, Knight of Swords, in my decisions card. What do we need to do? And it depends how bad it gets, actually, what the decision is. So we're still in a waiting period what to do. It's basically an disaster for both parties. That stops the Empress and anxiety and disaster there with the Ten of Swords. So it is painful to watch from all angles. So I get the Chariot, Wheel of Fortune, and Page of Wands. That could mean December. Wheel of Fortune is my December card. There's going to be a lot of pressure with people talking behind the scenes and whatnot. So this is saying retirements or stepping down will happen. Change of fate, pressure to leave. So, but it's not giving me male or female. It could be both, because I concentrated on both. They both should leave.
Well, they both should leave. And they both should be allowed to be just replaced within, however the state they come from and what their party needs. But then once you replace, like Feinstein, They shouldn't be blocking them from putting another senator on that committee. That's just stupid. Well,
Yeah.
it's not stupid. It's just vengeful. And when you don't have all the votes you need to do what you need to do, is what they happen. Hello, Angela.
Yeah, but my senses don't feel they're going to make it to the end of their terms.
No.
I don't see them. They could, not be functional at all by that time. Keith. He froze because the Grim Reaper is pointing at him. Yeah, it's really, yeah. Grassley needs to go too. That's that old crow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you feel bad for someone. It's hard to watch, but he's done so much damage to our democracy over the years, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad in that point too. Okay, get rid of that one. Process. Okay. Jeff is wondering about appeals. We got a court date in March. Process does not allow for appeals for trial dates.
You can't appeal a trial date.
Okay, he's wondering what ploy is next.
Okay, first of all, you can't appeal a trial date.
Right.
So that's one of Trump's wet dreams.
Wet dream. Yeah. Oh,
there's
Mr. Paxton. Nice.
he goes on trial tomorrow, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Excellent.
Yes. And we just had more crap come out about him in the news. I mean, they're really covering it now. It's like the press has figured out, oh my God, when he gets impeached, if we haven't been on top of this, what's going to happen? So. And the weather's breaking. It's only getting into the upper 90s every day. I mean, really. It's like a whole new lease on life.
I know. They were calling for a record heat today here, but it dropped by 3 degrees. So now it might match that record heat.
Yeah, apparently it's somewhat broken over us, and it's moved north of us. But when I got my phone repaired, the guy said, well, why did you go to the place only a mile from your house for the first repair? And I said, because it was going to be 106 that day. And he looked at me and I said, my car doesn't have air conditioning. And he goes, oh, I can see the difference, because when I was up there yesterday getting it fixed for the second time at the place that apparently really fixed it, when I drove home, it was a balmy 98. But that's balmy when I was driving home from my first repair, I looked at the thermometer in my car, and this is with the windows rolled down and the sunroof open, trying to get as much air in that car as possible. The interior temperature in my car was 116. But it was only a mile. That's why I can drive a mile. It's like a good sauna trip,
Okay, what's next?
Illness is the only thing they've got left, and they'd be checked by every doctor between the Atlantic to the Pacific if they tried to pull it. And if he pulls that stunt, then he's not going to be part of Super Tuesday. So,
what could they do? My cards show nothing that they can do. There's no legal. My cards aren't showing any legal ploy that can work to delay this, except, like you said, illness or drop of lawyer.
No, even if they drop their lawyer now, they
could claim it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, the thing is, the lawyer who quits, he's the one that's under the fire if they choose to quit. And these are guys that make bazillions of money, and are some of them are still part of relatively well thought of law firms. They won't let them do it.
So I had magician surrounding my hermit fool and the Five of Swords. In the end, the magician's like, we have control, we have everything,
Mm-hmm.
and anything you do with any kind of nonsense, the Five of Swords feels like nonsense and foolish,
Mm-hmm.
silly. I got this little emblem, the face palm. Anything foolish you do is going to be shut down with the magician. And like in Georgia well, the Queen of Swords is representing all these women that are the judges.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy will be shut down. I got Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords, Six of Swords. They're in control.
Mm-hmm.
There is no legal theory. I don't see it. And the only thing I have is the eight of coins, which is a body issue, could be illness. But the energy of going to trial is there at the closest time possible there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any.
Was Trump was used to playing in civil court, not criminal court. Criminal court's a whole different ball of wax.
So someone mentioned 45 must go in for a deposition for
Mm-hmm.
Cohen's lawsuit. He was ordered to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And also he must go in for a deposition for Pete Strzok's
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit.
Right.
He can't get out of those. He's got to go to court to be deposed of those two
Mm-hmm.
lawsuits.
But depositions are different. They're in a room and the lawyers from both sides are there and they have a court reporter. And they're just asking questions across the table. It's to iron out facts that you don't want to have to screw with in court. It's what Mark Meadows didn't do and then ended up having to sit on the bench and screw himself over by maybe ruining his deal with Jack Smith that they think he has because of what he said trying to get out of the Georgia thing. And if this isn't living proof, all of y'all need to write, even if you're or write, email, call the office of or whatever of your whoever your representative is at a federal level. We need to have the federal courts televised. That's when you saw all these guys get all up and decide they had to do something. They're not happy with Jack Smith, but they're terrified of being on camera in a courtroom. And okay,
Steve's wondering about our congressman again. The traitors that assisted Eastman and
mm-hmm.
the function of our January 6th. See the energy there again.
Okay. I'm going to ask if we're close to seeing some sort of legal action taken against them.
The seditious ones involved in the emailing and communications. There's a lot of people with more time on Twitter I follow, and the New York Times did a really good piecing together of the all the people involved and who was coordinated.
Who was where?
Yeah, who was where. They put the pictures up and what they did. That's known to the public. Only reason I see it, I quit subscribing to them, but it was really good. Like they grouped them, and the lawyers who did it,
Mm-hmm.
outside people, and the campaign people, and the congressmen. They put it all together and told them what they did. It was pretty good. Congressman.
I'm laying cards and they're making no sense.
Every time I've read on this subject, the moon, October.
Mhm. Right.
The moon, October. A little bit of patience yet. It will happen. That card flew out. That's up. There are people behind the scenes flipping on certain
Mhm.
people for lesser sentences here.
Mhm.
Nine of Cups, strength, and people flipping.
Mhm.
I think there's people behind the scenes flipping, like probably like I sensed Roger Stone was one of them.
You think?
Indictments coming. They are being investigated with the Knight of Wands, and then I think it starts dropping in October.
Mhm.
That there. In the end, I have you will not get away with what you did in the past. Six of Cups,
Mhm.
King of Cups, and 9, 10 of coins. That makes me feel like I'm kind of getting the reference of when was that when the 14th Amendment was used before in 1886 or
Mhm.
whatever it was,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's giving me that reference of like, you don't do, it's like, this is kind of like your ancestors, things have done in the past.
Mhm.
My 9 of coins, because I put that on there. It's like your DNA, your ancestors,
Mhm.
balance of what should be.
Mhm.
It's like, you don't, what you did in the past, you're not going to get away with it. That's the kind of feeling. So I believe it's going to happen. I think they're going to, those involved,
Yeah. I think
that rises to the,
they felt like they were part of one big happy family. We're all doing this together. And now things are changing dramatically. And they realize they're not in control and they can't control it. And this is the page of swords when he's reversed. He's kind of a, a very stealthy liar, been trying to hide behind his lies and what he could hide from the justice, but it's all going to be revealed. And this is was it coming soon? So yeah. And I think they're like a bag of rats, man. They're squealing on each other as fast as they can. That's how they got so many of Nixon's guys, is they all started telling on each other.
and everyone involved went to prison.
Mm-hmm.
How many was there? Like 18 or more?
Yeah,
Something
18.
like that.
Just like Georgia, 18.
Um, hmm. I haven't checked on him for a while. Alex Jones. He was there. He stoked up the fire on podcast. We don't know how deep he was into planning.
I'm gonna see
And
if he's. I'm gonna see if he's gonna be criminally charged. Okay, not just a lot of the civil suits that have grown up out of this.
Alex Jones, J6.
No, he's as delusional as he's ever been. He's a knight of out selling bad medicine, and he doesn't give a damn. He has. I don't think he has a soul. He sees himself as a magician, but his strength is waning away from him, as is his sense of balance. But it still comes out to him not being charged. He doesn't. He doesn't. His energy is such that he can't even comprehend it.
Uh,
Doesn't he owe $60 million or to Sandy Hook families and stuff already anyway?
knows a lot, but there was no agreement, so it's like it'll be a battle forever to try to get him to pay anything, right? I got the magician too. I think he does. drugs or supplements. I got the magician, like you said, he thinks he's untouchable, but I think he's a little bit crazy and nuts because I think he's
A little bit?
yeah. The moon, he's freaking crazy. We got popping pills here with the devil greed,
Mm-hmm.
and he thinks he's untouchable. There are some dark times coming up for him, and he did it to himself. So there's some kind of restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah, he may have to go to jail to make him pay up or something coming up.
Mm-hmm.
There's some kind of restrictions coming up upon him soon.
Okay.
Some kind
I'm
of
going to see if he's
transition.
going to be silenced
But
soon.
then, but in the end, I think some kind of justice or legal actions will make him, and he will be a whistleblower or some kind of information he will give. But it's not showing me any kind of justice in the end or any imprisonment from J6. But I think he's either been or will flip in some way, kind of like Roger Stone.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked my guys before I did the read. They're showing me he did communicate in like meetings or something.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of feels like he was hanging out with Roger Stone, but I don't think he was like a planner, but there was
Mm-hmm.
talk. It's real close to being illegal, but I don't think he crossed that line enough to be
What
charged.
I asked was, would he be stopped from communicating? Because that's what he did, is he communicated. And I got a yes and a no. But I've got somewhere in the near future they're going to take away his source of income, which would be getting him off the air.
That could be the restriction
Mm-hmm.
with Eight of Swords. I'm thinking there's something's gonna transition the way he has done things or something. But it's like you know, it's like 45. It's similar to the way he spoke and said, "Come down to the Capitol. You ain't gonna have a country that."
Mm-hmm.
He did many similar things. But is that First Amendment rights or you know, it's a tough line there. To me, it mostly feels like he was just a grifter. Still
Really?
fires.
You think?
Yeah.
Him and his fake health things and all that crap?
Okay.
We created the word snake oil medicine for a reason, you
Okay.
know?
What was this one? There's another FBI whistleblower who looked like he has info on Rudy, the Russian asset, Jonathan Buma.
Okay.
I think I did briefly read about that or hear that. But I think it was on Twitter. It was a long thread, so I didn't really read it. But I think it had something talking about Rudy and his Ukraine affairs and being used as a Russian asset, unwittingly or willingly.
Well, he hung around with Lev and the other guy for Ukraine. I mean, and that was a whole Russian thing. But okay, I'm asking if Jonathan Buma's information is
That's a good
can
idea.
be
Jonathan
corroborated.
Boomer. Jonathan Boomer. Jonathan.
Yes and no. It's very much slanted. It's very much he's trying to build a defense for himself. His information is not complete. He's in it for the money. He's trying to get some money out of this. He also wants to unburden himself, but I think Booma may have been connected to that redheaded lady that was with the NRA. Remember her, the
Yeah.
one that we caught for spying, and then they sent her back. But the way it reads is no. It's yes and no. It's 3-3. It's three yeses and three nos. Um, he may have information on Rudy, whether it can ever be fully used. I don't get that it can be.
Rudy. Okay. This is kind of showing that he may have taken some money to have the devil, and then about doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then giving up information as a whistleblower with the Page of Cups. So he may have taken his own money a little bit or something, trying to save himself here. But he then also have another whistleblower, the Page of Cups flipping, and then also speaking to the government, doing the right thing. Page of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and Queen of Coins in the end. More financial assets, changing your luck, and being a spy. Russian asset, Jonathan Buma. It feels helpful what he did, but there's a lot of money surrounding this. Either I'm not really positive. Either what Rudy took in that kind of info.
Yeah.
But I was concentrating on him, and I don't know why I can't figure out why there's a lot of money around him.
Well, like I said, he was Butina, whatever her name is.
Martina Butina, or
Butina, yeah. He was somehow involved in that, and that's what's going to make some of his information not so effective, because in being part of or being around that, it's going to make him look shady.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, he did the right thing about Rudy, but he can corrupt himself.
Yeah.
But it did help, whatever information he gave. I think it did help in the asset of Rudy. It may change things because I had the Wheel of Fortune, meaning, it was helpful. But it didn't show anything about him being charged or anything like that. He did give up info, but there's some corrupt things around him. Maybe he's saving his butt himself by turning on Rudy and what he knew. I'm not getting a huge boom on that man as far as what. Carrie was wondering about the Satan. I guess he wasn't meeting with Biden.
And Biden's going to come give him the money anyway. It's not going to throw paper towels at the people of Miami.
No. Thanks, Kay. Yeah, Kushner will go down at some point. I believe it. My mind's eye has always showed him locked up. He always showed me over 10 years. He gets over 10 years in prison. They've never sprayed. You should get 15 years for what he did about the coronavirus task force.
You get 15 years for that. You should get life for letting them cut up that poor journalist and plant him in the garden at the embassy.
That too. Yeah, I think there was reporting again, people talking about Jamal and Kushner's connections and the WhatsApp he was using to talk to MBS and whatnot. That was brought up again, I seen. Okay. Florian's waking up to disaster.
No.
No.
No. I'm sorry.
We don't want to hear that.
You want me to try again? See
Yeah,
if
try
keep
again.
playing until you get the right answer.
Yep, keep playing till you get
Um,
the answer. Floridians, looking.
Floridians, there's too many of them that are kind of not really seeing things clearly. There is a group, however, that would like it to be a healthy, happy state. But the fact that so much bad legislation's gone down, there are a lot of people leaving the state. The people who could save the state are leaving it because they don't want to live in the middle of it. What's going on? And this is them fleeing and taking their information with them. And Florida's on the downside of the wheel of fortune. It's who's left there and whether they want to do anything about it. They got to get organized enough. They the Dems put money in Florida last time during the governor and the senator race. I mean, the party did, but the people on the ground were just kind of like, "Will you come save us?" And it doesn't work that way. I think when they can't rebuild their houses because they have no insurance. But then if Biden walks in and helps them all out, I don't know. I just get it's a very confused state.
It is. Um, I have good and bad cards with this too in my
I do
sense.
too.
Um, there's too many people blinded yet. You know, just not seeing him for what it is. But there is, I mean, people will eventually. But right now, there ain't enough. There isn't enough. But for some reason, there's going to be a wheel of fortune, circle of change. You know, there's still some secrets and whatnot. There may be some funding that people start hearing about, maybe not getting the funding they need. And then things change about how they feel about him. Um, the more the state goes through tower moments and bad karma and loss, they will see
Hmm.
more Six of Swords. So there's a lot of chaos in Florida. You know, we see with the hurricanes, funding and whatnot, but eventually they will see because it's going to hurt them personally in many ways. But the energy is, positive of more and more people seeing the light.
Hmm.
The Knight of Wands is always a great mover for me. People
Hmm.
see the light. It has a lot to do with finances. Once they lose finances, that's where it hits the home the worst.
Right.
So there's Ten of Wands is all about your burdens and staying vigilant. And it's like if it don't affect me, it doesn't matter. That kind of feeling.
Hmm.
But it eventually will. So I think it will eventually change. It's just going to take more of this horrible things about coming out until it actually affects them personally. But when you can't get insurance, that wakes people up. They don't get help from the hurricane, that wakes people up.
When their insurance is more than their house payment, you think that would wake them up? I'm sorry, Geek Hillbilly. I didn't mean to insult rats.
Ugh. Nazis are marching. Good Lord. Um, oh, Jesus. What a fool. Yeah, he's taking the funds. And no, they don't have enough resources. He's just
Well,
foolish.
his wife created that thing when they had a storm before. She created a kind of a GoFundMe page or something like that. And she said, pay it through us, and then it won't have to go through all that federal bureaucracy. Now no one can find out what that money went to except his wife.
The last I heard, I haven't heard any funds
Mm-mm.
being given out from what they grifted. Last I heard, they're still using state resources and private jets to fly around too.
Yeah, Rudy flew in a private jet, and his lawyer couldn't explain where he found the money to get there.
I know, right? Oh, these terrible people. Rand Paul.
Mm-hmm.
What is in that?
Oh, every time I see that man, I remember when he'd never passed his medical bar, his medical exam to get licensed. And so he went after the group that creates the license. And when that whole controversy was going on, this is before Trump, I remember a Democrat saying he wants to let doctors work on your eyes with rusty melon ballers. That's what. So I was thinking about with Rand Paul. Ew. He doesn't want anything regulated. He wants to just, take your chances.
These horrible people.
Well, his father, Ron Paul, was down here forever. He was a congressman out of Houston. And one of my least favorite brothers is named Paul, so it's like the whole thing. Not a good name for me. Okay, I'm going to take all those images out of my mind. And what was in that letter?
News, traveling.
Oh, dear.
2018.
Well, Trump was paying homage to his great master. That's Putin. That's what I get for Putin upside down. And Paul was just a messenger boy. He really did not know what was in the letter. And it was to stop something from happening. They were trying to work out how to stop something happening. And I think it was something about NATO. And it was a bad message that never got anywhere. And was not able. When the Three of Swords is reversed for me in this kind of a thing, means the harm they wanted to cause did not come about by the letter. But it was definitely a letter that was out to harm us all.
I was originally thinking it may have had something to do with military, but the Knight of Swords didn't come out. But it has something to do with some kind of authority with the King of Cups. And then I have the Chariot. It could be some kind of travel or movements.
Mm-hmm.
And some kind of victory. New idea about something, but it could possibly be with NATO or where planes are being sent to guard,
Mm-hmm.
something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Because I have protection coming out too. So they gave an offer of some kind of connections. So I have my 6 8 of Wands is all about news and success and protection. And then to evaluate what's going on possibly in regions.
Mm-hmm.
Or of a military setup or where they're putting bases or guarding things.
Mm-hmm.
But so some kind of plans. The Ace of Wands with plans to shut down something. It feels like setting up. It could be the fighting in the northern part of Ukraine all the time, or some kind of. They're not really telling me, but it feels like military setup or some kind of protection or something. I don't have anything about money. It feels more like a military planning and setups of
strategy, not
a strategy or something like that. Because I have nothing about funds or money or giving checks. It feels like more about strategy of, where NATO or where our government may be helping Ukraine, with training or something, because they're always on that northern border, whatever. They always are
Well, it was the
setting up.
Crimea, that which triggered it off. But I want to look at one other thing. I heard the word Brexit in my head, so I'm looking to see.
All I was getting is something about leadership and some kind of planning.
Okay, what I got was they were trying to figure out some subtle thing like Russia did. It wasn't subtle what had happened in Britain, but and I got was it about Brexit? It was like, yes, we want to get in the same boat and pull out and pull away from all of our allies, like Brexit had. But at the time, because Brexit happened in 2016, 2018, they were implementing it and they pulled out in 2020. And it was like, yeah, it was the unloading of that kind of burden. So it was timing where we could do something along the line of, Brexit, it really, really hurt England. And of course, Russia considered England, it's within the European Union, they'd been able to make inroads in most of the other countries one way or another. They didn't until Brexit popped up and they put Boris Johnson in charge.
Another useful idiot to bring through Brexit.
So it's to bring some sort of a shift within the U.S. to pull us away from our European allies.
Yeah, same thing they did to the USA. Misinformation and using useful idiots to hurt the countries.
Right. That's what he did when he worked for the KGB, was he worked with useful idiots.
Okay. I can't remember where I was reading this. Maybe it was Tuesday. But I was seeing like a split up. Like maybe like 9-9 or 9-3-3 or something like that. And
yeah, I saw four trials.
Or maybe like Trump alone, something like that. Let's see what they say now. But it's just not possible to do 19
people. I think they said whatever stadium their football team plays in, they'd have to have the trial there.
Yeah, Auburn. I think Auburn's near there, I think. I don't remember.
No, you know what I got? Is that they will be tied together. Yeah. And the reason is some people don't want to change things. That's my change card. And this is that they can't build a firm enough foundation for themselves, standing on their own. But there's a bunch of them that just want to be unburdened. They just want to. I saw the best rendition of this card watching another reader, and their 10 of Wands is a woman on a treadmill. It's like getting rid of that bulk. Don't pay all that weight. Anyway, they really want to get rid of the burden of this, and it's going to be money that's going to speak. They're going to choose to write in, and the results of that are going to be a better balance. So I think some of the lower level people, I think there'll be two trials. What I'm seeing in my head now is two trials, and some of the lower level people will get cut out because they will have pled guilty and just not go into the trial. Do you know the guy that they kept jailed, who was the only African American out of the bunch? And he said they wouldn't cooperate with him and all this crap. It ends up that the day before they arrested him, Fani Willis personally called the guy and said, "We understand you have a bond problem. We're willing to waive that and, work it out with, do you want to sign this waiver?" And the guy refused to sign the waiver. So he could sit in jail for a weekend and say, they're after the only black guy that's on this. And he didn't know she taped the call.
Oh.
Yeah. And now the call's been released and everybody's going up to him going, "You didn't have to stay in there. You could have the same sort of plead up front deals everybody else had." And he just kind of ran away from everybody. So they have their hooks into him with money.
Supposedly, I don't know. I can't remember if it was Alex Jones or someone had a fundraiser for him.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Supposedly,
he was on with Steve Bannon right after
oh
he got out,
man,
mouthing off about how this is how they really treat black people, you know. And first, he wouldn't have said that if he was part of the movement. He would have said African Americans, but we won't go into the vagaries of language.
yeah. So some people are um, in the 19 has been reporting about they don't have the money for the lawyering. So there be
Georgia will supply them with a lawyer.
yeah, if they want, yeah. But once they actually wake up to the fact that they're not going to be able to pay lawyers, they will flip. They should have
Well,
done
once
it.
they talk to a real lawyer, not one that Trump has whispering in their ears,
So
what'd you get? So mine is
it's a
they'll
weird.
be it's not decided, but I think they're still working on it in their own little pea brains what they're going to do.
So I have the Wheel of Fortune, the Devil, and my Universal Mysteries. So what does that mean? This is kind of like what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Deciding what to do with the Wheel of Fortune, the positive changes. I think some are working on plea deals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the ticker, the kicker here, who actually pleas right now. So there's people here working on plea deals,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lawyer. There's lawyer problems here too. I'm seeing lawyer problems with King of Wands, Ace of Wands, and Five of Wands. That's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy, good energy, bad energy with lawyers. So there's conflict of interest with lawyers or something. Lawyering to work out. Um, Lack of energy for lawyering. That could be that people having money problems with lawyers. A lot of it has to do with what the judge decides on 45. I think things will come to light of what's actually going to happen when they decide on 45. So the judge has to decide on 45 what to do with 45, and then we'll know a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the judge has to decide whether if they're appealing to federal court, with him, and how they're gonna put it all together. So it's just a waiting game on the judge yet, and how they're gonna put it together. But I don't see it as one. My mind's eye don't show me as one. Like you said, you were sensing two trials or something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Maybe they put all the lawyers in 45 together and Meadows, and then
Well,
the
I think
lawyer.
they're going to see the power of a televised trial and what it does to their stories. It's like Jan 6 didn't do much. We'd hear smatterings of what was coming out till they ran the hearings. And then people can kind of see the people who are saying it. It's hard. It's really easy for them to throw stones at like a case Cassidy Hutchison until you see her testify. You know?
Oh, well, then they just ignore it. It's just all
Well,
the
there's
evidence.
a certain potential that does, but the ones we need to pull out for the election, the independents who like both sides do it in their heads, they were won over. If you looked at the numbers, it shifted. If you look at the good polls.
Yeah, the right polls. Yeah, there's zero chance 45 wins or even is the nominee. He's got so much going on. So yeah, I think I don't know if I started, but someone was chatting about in 45's deposition with Tish James. He threw Eric under the bus. It wasn't
Yes.
me. It wasn't me. Eric did.
Yeah, I was off. I was off stopping nuclear war.
I was stopping nuclear war with Kim Jong Un and falling in love. It was Eric that did it all.
Okay,
Even back in
Debbie.
2014. Sure.
Mhm. First of all, there's a couple things. The competency test for politicians should be the voters, and I don't agree with the people who want younger voters to take civics tests. Especially when it comes from Vivek Ramaswamy, who's already ripped off
Maga,
half the
Maga
vote.
Swami.
Right, Swamy, yeah.
What a
Uh,
fraud that guy is.
yeah. The best description I heard of him was every woman's nightmare of a first blind date. That guy. Woo!
Yeah, he's got so much crap going on. He's People are suing him for his pump and dump on his.
On the Alzheimer's drug that had already been proved to not be effective. Yeah.
Yeah, he made millions, and
So did
people.
his family. He had a bunch of that money in his family.
So he says he can't testify in the civil action because he's running for president.
No, there's nothing in there that says no.
That was the last court response he gave in July. Last I heard that, like, I can't testify in this case because I'm running for president. I'm too busy.
No, you're not. You're too busy having your teeth whitened.
Oh, MAGA Swami. Competency test, making pass before elections.
My answer is we need to educate voters. We need to get people um, up and excited about our side and to get people to reflect. All these guys are there to make you angry and to make you fear because fear makes the dark darker. Um, Understanding their time has come, if you can ever get your heart to that point, means that we can win against them. So I don't. The competency test for politicians is the electorate. That's. What do you think, Scott? What do you say?
Um, I don't. I don't see a competency test either. Um, God, wish it was easier by a Secretary of State, but then you're going on a path. Let's say there's a Republican, and they can come up with any kind of BS to deny or try to deny a Democrat from running. Yeah, it's basically up to the voters. The biggest thing out there is people are talking about age limits or term limits on Congress.
Term limits would be better.
Um, like you said, it's about the voters too. But let's say a congressman gets in there, he's 35, doing a great job, and he's termed out at 56. Let's say, is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
That he has to retire from Congress when this person, let's say, like Jamie Raskin, has to leave because he's done his 20 years, but he could still be a great person. It's like you have retirement on certain civilian jobs. Let's just see what the cards have to say. If any of
Okay.
them be enacted to limit Congress, especially coming out with, we talked about McConnell and Grassley and all these real old folks.
Yes, it's streaming on my channel. Someone asked that question.
Oh, it is. I don't see it up.
It is. It said it should have been streamed. Well, maybe it's not. I don't know.
It doesn't show it's connected.
Oh, well. Pooh, I did it this
It's on my
morning.
end.
I told you I'm having my computer.
Tech
Mercury retrograde has been. Mercury's trying to kill me, guys. It's not just retrograde, it's personally out for me.
Okay, I have a new idea coming up for balance in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So Page of Wands, the Justice card, and Ace of Cups. There is going to be some kind of new idea. This is only talking right here in the past or moving forward, whatever, to bring balance to what's right. And Ace of Cups is all about health. And then I have Ace of Wands.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about energy, power, and teamwork, new cycles. The 10 of Coins. And then the 6 of Swords. It's feeling like when you've done enough, that kind of feeling. It's like when you've done enough, you know, time to retire, that kind of thing. In the end, I do have my 3, 4 of Coins, and that's about, some kind of legislation, something on the books. There's paperwork, Knight of Cups, and when to walk away. So eventually it feels to me with these cards that there could be an age limit. Like you can't run again after you're 70 or something like that.
I think it's going to be term limits.
But there is some kind of legislation
Mm-hmm.
that is passed here, when to walk away. There's some kind of legislation, doing the right thing. I don't know. It's one of those.
I hear term limits. I'm going to ask if it's going to happen in the next 10 years.
Guess we have to separate it to narrow it.
Oh, God. Yes, it is. I got a yes, 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 yes. I got a yes. People see in the long term how that makes it a better place. It's going to be completed because people see it's fair. It's going to come because of some of the heartache that's been caused by how it's been run. And it's going to be a whole new time for Congress and the Senate. It's an idea whose time has come.
It might be both.
Yeah,
because let's say some businessman works his whole life and then decides, I want to be a senator at 68 and wins. So he can.
Well, if he's got term limits, he's going to be there till. No, if you had term limits and it was for 3 senatorial terms, he'd be out in his 80s.
Oh, so 18 years on a senator is max?
Mm-hmm. If that's what it would be. It would be a term limit in that you can run 3 times, 2 times. We have it in Dallas in our city council. You can run 4 times and your terms are 2-year limits. And at the end of 8 years, they go. And I actually was on a homeowners board and I pushed through a thing and we put term limits on the homeowners boards because the ones that had the most trouble were the ones where people came in and sat there and nobody else could get on the boards. And the first 2 years you serve on a board like that, you kind of feel like we've got this budget. We all live in this community together. How can we do this most fairly? The second 2 years, you kind of sit there and you go, well, I know a lot more now because I've been through it, which is true. And you start to say, but this is the sort of project I think is best. By about the 4th time they've been on the board consecutively, it's my property. I've run it for years. I know exactly what we need to do. There's a real mental change that happens in people. And the boards and the homeowners associations I saw bankrupted were generally bankrupted by boards that had just served too long.
Yeah. It is, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with ageism or anything like that. Hence, with Pelosi, very mentally sharp and everything. People, my grandpa, up until the end of '93, he was mentally sharp because his body wasn't available. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's different. You can, Nancy's doing her thing. I'm glad she stepped aside a little bit so she doesn't have all that stress. And let Jeffries take the lead.
Look at some of the younger Republicans. Matt Gaetz is young, but doesn't mean he can think.
But there's got to be some kind of change for people that, like people obviously weren't aware of or whatever, or just voted incumbent to have Mitch McConnell back again, or there was cheating. Even Feinstein, people should have not voted for her to run again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there should be some kind of cap or some kind of thing, because it's sad to see people, clinging to power yet when they can't remember what's going on, or misfiring, or severe health issues. All right, oh my gosh, it's already 1:21.
I know.
Boy, did that fly.
I know. It's because we have such wonderful, intelligent questions. Thank you, chatters.
Okay, we did that. Oh, let's look at Paxton. I'm gonna grab a different deck this one.
Oh, I'm going to use my.
This is gonna be fun. Is this gonna be on TV?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's going to be streamed somehow. Yeah, they've been.
Ian says they call him Glitch McConnell, not Mitch, in Scotland. Oh lordy, I hate to laugh, but that is funny.
He's avoided this for 7 years.
Mitch?
No, Paxton.
Oh yeah, right.
That's why he stayed in office, was because he got out. He was using his office to,
Shield.
which is not really a reason, but they kept him out of the courts he should have been in.
Obviously, there of the voters not knowing what a person is doing in office to vote him in again.
Well, when your entire board, law board, certified staff, all 4 of them leave and say, "No, we won't do this," and they still voted him back in. No, that's just Texas stupid. And especially because, well, the guy who he was trying to swing this deal for, he's sitting in jail right now. So this is what's going on. Changes.
Yes. Okay. Ooh. Everything's coming to light. His world is gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, he's got a 10 of swords on his back. Coming. Oh, 3 of swords. He's gonna lose. He's gonna lose. After he loses this. Yeah, I got the 10 of swords, 8 of wands, 9 of wands. He will lose this impeachment. Mm-hmm. The Congress is finally united against him. 3 of swords, 3 of wands. Was this going to take like 3 weeks?
I don't know, but I know when the Republicans in this state throw you under the bus this hard, you're gone.
Yeah, he looks gone. And then on the backside, we got the federal government coming up on him too.
Yep.
Hierophant coming up on his house. Page of swords. Yeah, after this is done, the federal government's going to hit him hard too with their investigation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got.
What I got was these cards look lovely, but they can have some really sinister. This is a complete change of job and promotion. The Ace of Ariel, Ace of Coins, money going away. Sudden and immediate results on what's going on around you. Eight of Gabriel. Be prepared for any possibility. Nine of Gabriel. And you know there's a better course of action. You cannot go it alone. You're going to be find out. And then this guy's standing at a crossroads where he's got a dark path and a light path. And Michael's pointing the right way. But does Paxton take it? Does he understand? And this says the important thing is being balanced, but that's really how Paxton feels right now. That's where he is.
He's about ready to go off the cliff.
Right.
Nice.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a good sign. I like the way you said that. When you're actually too corrupt for Texas, you got to go.
When you're too corrupt for our legislature, because there's no way, there are a lot of good Dems down there, but there's no way they could have pushed this through on this guy. And when I heard they were looking at it, I went, how the hell did they even get that on the floor? And then when I started seeing who was standing up against him, I went, boy, must they know a whole lot more than we know. Well, you know what pissed him off? He'd done all this stuff, and then these guys sued him. The 4 guys he fired because they wouldn't, because they wouldn't do what he wanted them to do. So they resigned because it cost them no license if they did it. So they sued him because he fired them for doing their job, which was, we can't condone this. And the judgment came down, it was like $8 million between the 4 of them. Each of them was going to get $2 million for having gone through the indignity and all the crap of having this come up. And he tried to get the state to pay for it, for his lies. And that's when the legislature went nuts and said, no way. Mm-mm. You did it. We know you did it. We've covered for you for years. Goodbye, baby cakes. And that was when it all broke open. And his wife sits in the Senate, which is the jury that's going to hear the trial. And they got her disqualified because her signature was on some of the papers that are involved in it. And they said, nope, you got to recuse.
All right. We got to do one more.
Oh, if Texas can take out Abbott, gladly will I do this.
So when he becomes legally troubled, will he flip to save himself and hurt other people?
Mm-hmm.
Paxton's future on, let's just say, a whistleblower or whatever. Paxton's future on whistleblowing. Oh, boy.
No.
It feels like bribery going afloat.
No, I got no. No. These cards you read reversed. No, because when it's over for Paxton, it's over. No, he doesn't want to do it. And the only yes is the reason he won't do it is because it leads to such a stormy sea for him. What they're going after him for is like the tip of the iceberg. And Abbott knows where the rest of the iceberg is. So.
Again, I got the Hierophant coming out. So, doing the right thing for the country and the government coming on him, digging out some secrets. And then I have some kind of a money card, moving of money. He may talk about something, but it's undecided what he'll do because I got my decision card. But whistleblowing and then some kind of factoring of money could be bribery. Like let's say Abbott bribes him to shush or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a waiting game yet, but there's going to be some news about some things because everything's the chain is kind of broken with him. He knows stuff, so that's a cup, what you did in the past, taking a step back, losing your thing, but then there's some news coming out
Mm-hmm.
with that Eight of Wands. Offers something.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of feels like, with this card, it kind of feels like people would bribe him to shush. That kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm. I think they're so interwoven that they can't go after each other.
Yeah, it's going to change a lot when the feds come in, because that's a couple times I got the Hierophant coming out upon him. When the feds come in after
Mm-hmm.
him, also after getting removed. All right, bring in
Okay.
some inspiration time.
Inspiration time. Okay, I got to get my inspiration deck. I didn't bring it over. Wait a second.
Inspiration for the week ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning of September. Is fall ever going to arrive?
It has. It has. We're not 100 degrees.
Or is it going to stay 90 till Christmas?
No. No, unfortunately, my experience in Texas is when we have really, really hot summers, we have really, really vicious winters. And so I made sure I still have my boots I bought when I went to Iowa to canvass for Obama in his first set of caucuses. And I just, and my house is well insulated and I have a fireplace in case the power structure decides to go down.
Okay. Passion. Wow. Wow.
Okay, lots of good information coming to individuals.
Okay. Okay. I'm getting there's so much to be grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
and amazing things are happening, and justice is happening. Rulings are coming down that are favorable to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Ten of Coins, Ace of Wands, and Justice starts it off. So there's a lot of great movement coming forward that we all should be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
The next three, remember to have patience, because the Wheel of Fortune, the new beginnings, are going to bring abundance with Ace of Coins.
Mm-hmm.
Support, change, promotions. But the whole center of the reading is the Wheel of Fortune. Having patience, Wheel of Fortune will happen in abundance.
Okay.
That's
Got
mine.
it? Okay. I got this one. This is soul connected crystals. When you see a set of pointed quartz crystals or other crystals that are all connected together, those are called soul connected crystals, and they that you realize the true union and unity with one another, clearing personal balance, realizing unity with the oneness of yourself, creating peace and harmony within yourself, enhancing communication, and connecting with nature and the arts. And then the middle crystal is selenite, which Scott has a kick-ass piece of selenite by him, and it works as a vacuum cleaner to purify and cleanse your aura, opens up and stimulates your crown chakra, bringing in divine light to from the cosmos, allows you to move forward with strength. That's it. Connects to your higher self and your I am presence. And then the out card is we're getting messages about our life purpose from, and this is a stone. If you have any kind of anxiety, I cannot recommend highly enough Amazonite. And this is Amazonite. And Amazonite aligns you with your life purposes, encourages you to step forward on the path of strength and courage, assists you in finding the divine truth in all things, facilitates deep internal reflection, encourages you to come into alignment with your divine will, manifesting your heart's desire. So we go from being in divine connection within the universe to being in with a world where the worlds are clearing up and straightening out to us going towards our life purpose. So that's a good week.
Oh,
you mean this big piece of selenite?
That little piece of selenite, yes. If you have a piece,
This is pretty unique. You can look through it, you can see all the rainbow colors in it.
oh yeah, that's
so,
why it's
God,
a self.
it's so fascinating how that's created, or you can see all the years too, like a tree that it took to create this thing.
It's salt. It's just salt that got hard enough. And if you have crystals like that, you can put, if you don't want to sage, or you don't want to mist your house, or you don't want to, say soul prayers and stuff. If you have a crystal that you feel like you just sense touching it isn't working as well as it should, you stick it on a piece of selenite and that'll suck it right out of it. And selenites don't need to be cleansed, and don't ever put them in water because they are salt. That's one of the ones you don't put in water. You can put it out in moonlight if you want, but.
Excellent. Hey, Linda. Good morning. Earth Mama, the rocks speak.
They do. Sometimes they yell, and sometimes they quietly tell you what you need to know.
All right. Thank you much, Nancy Jean, again.
Well, thank you for inviting me over, and maybe next time I'll keep my whole act together and get it over on my channel too.
Yeah, little computer issues to work out. Something didn't click.
At least I didn't go black and have my mic die 2 minutes before we went on air like last week.
Sweet. All right, peeps. Blessings, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. Thank you very much.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.